Saving America one entrepreneur at a time, it's the Biz Rap Podcast with your host, Michael Manahan.
It's Biz Rap Radio, the show that celebrates entrepreneurs and small business with your host, small businessman, educator, and author, Michael Manahan.
And welcome to another edition of Biz Rap Radio. It's your host, Michael Manahan, and thank you very much for joining me today. Really do appreciate it. If you're new to Biz Rap Radio, we are the show all about small business and entrepreneurs. We are here helping the small business people of America do what they do so well, which is to create jobs, employ people, and fuel the economy. Now, I know there's some folks out in Washington who'd have you think that, it's big government and big corporations that create all the jobs, but really it isn't. Most people in the United States of America work for a small business or a small company. And as we pulled out of the recession, most of the new jobs were created by small business and by entrepreneurs. In fact, if you keep your eyes on things like the Wall Street Journal, what you will see is you'll see constantly that the big corporations are laying people off. And when they do it, it's, I see small business people. And if they have 10 employees and they have to, terminate one employee, it's agonizing for them. I mean, they will take weeks sweating over it, worrying about the employee. How's the employee going to find another job? And what's it going to do to their organization? But boy, I'll tell you, those big corporations, they pull out the quarterly report and the bonus is down by a couple of $1 million, and that's it. 10,000 people go on the chopping block. Just who cares? Just get rid of 10,000 people so I can get my $3 million bonus back. It is, really ruthless in those big corporations, and I'm not sure they really care very much about the people that work for them. But I know that entrepreneurs and small business people do because I see it all the time. The stories I've heard talking to entrepreneurs, literally across the country, things like an employee, comes down with a severe disease, and even though they're not necessarily entitled to stay on the payroll, the company keeps them on the payroll for 6 months, a year even, to help them out. I've seen so many acts of generosity by small businesses. It's just incredible. Well, look, we got a new government coming in here very quickly, and I know that some people are happy about a new government, some people are not happy about the new government, but if you are a small business person or an entrepreneur, I would recommend you don't worry about who's in office, but you recommend how you can make money off of the rules and regulations that they are going to implement. There's going to be changes. Every new government sweeps in changes. I know some folks that made a ton of money on solar power when, Obama was handing out grants and loans and subsidies left, right, and center to anybody. All you had to do was mention, I want to make solar-powered rum, and you could get a subsidy or a grant from the government for it. Solar-powered gold-plated toilets. I mean, anything that you could come up with that had solar in it, and you were on the gravy train. So what you want to think about as an entrepreneur, how you can take advantage of the winds of change in Washington and at your local state level to make money, because there's business opportunities being created every day. Well, with that, we're going to get on with the show. We have a wonderful guest lined up in studio. Don't mind the occasional cough. She's suffering from a little bit of a cold, but we'll forgive her for that. But I have with me in studio today Annie Vonheim from Smart Press Juice. Annie, thanks for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
Well, I'm really excited to talk to you for a number of reasons. We often have on the show experts, people who can help small business people, help entrepreneurs. But I love it when I actually have an entrepreneur on the show because I think it gives a slightly different perspective. And I think there's a lot of lessons entrepreneurs can teach other entrepreneurs. I think there's, reminds me when I went to MBA school, I was in what was called a cohort. I think there was 18 students in my MBA class. I swear I learned more from my MBA classmates than I did from all the professors combined. So again, thanks for being on the show. So Smart Press Juice, intriguing name. What exactly does your business do?
Well, this is born from the idea that there is no medicine on earth more powerful than that of the humble green vegetable. That's been our motto, and that's really been the driving belief behind what we do. We call ourselves a wholeness and healing company, where we believe in the power of plant-based foods as your medicine. And the best way to do that is to include a wide variety of phytonutrients in your diet every day from a wide variety of different veggies. Most of us are just simply too busy. I think most Americans actually eat about 60% processed foods. The other 30% is going to be animal-based products.
Well, hang on. You're saying 60% of the food that's consumed is processed, so that means like frozen pizza and stuff like that.
Processed and refined foods.
Unbelievable. No wonder we got everybody's overweight and they're suffering from diabetes and all these other nasty diseases going on.
Yes, and a lot of those, we call them lifestyle diseases. These are chronic conditions that are unfortunately brought by the environment that we surround ourselves in and the lifestyles that we've chosen.
Mm-hmm.
So the unfortunate thing is that America is really crippled by these chronic conditions. But the good news is many of these conditions are reversible by simply making the right lifestyle choices.
So every once in a while I hear a radio show or I see some infomercial and some guy is hawking some pills. And as long as you take these pills, you're going to be great. But you're not selling, that's probably something that's made in the lab and a chemical. But what you're selling is really the actual vegetables themselves. What do? You press them really hard, the juice comes out of them?
Yeah, so I was getting to that.
Okay.
And that we really, as humans, we really need a very wide variety of produce, vegetables, fruits, superfoods in our diets. And that provides us with the antioxidants that we need to keep our cells functioning at its best and to keep chronic disease at bay. So I have a background in medical nutrition. I've worked for one of the largest nutrition firms in the world that deals with chronic disease management using nutritional therapies. And I traveled the whole world educating thousands and thousands of doctors for the last 15 years. I've worked with them on different solutions for chronic disease conditions, utilizing nutrition and alternative therapies. And over through all the literature we've looked at, through all the case studies that we've worked on, hands down, there's nothing more powerful than eating vegetables. And that's why we circle back around to my motto. So at that point, I decided to work with a good friend of mine who's an expert in organic formulations, and I thought there has to be a way to capture this. How can we include a wide variety of veggies? Most people just don't have the time. They don't have the funds even to afford a wide variety of organic vegetables. I'm talking about more than 10 different types a day. I hardly know anyone who could do that.
No, that's I'm a big vegetable eater and I love salads, and even then, even if you make a salad, you're hard pressed to get more than 4 or 5 ingredients in it. Yeah,
exactly. And you want to eat a rainbow of nutrients, and you hear this over and over from nutritionists and dietitians, and that this rainbow is truly what fuels our cells with the protective antioxidants that we need to function at our best. So, what's the best way to get this rainbow? So I came up with this concept of smart pressed juice, and that we can, my good friend, who's the organic sourcer, has access to tons and tons of veggies. So we decided to put in over 50 different types of organic fruits, vegetables, and superfoods. And that's very, very hard to come by.
Well, you've got 50 different vegetables in one drink?
No, it's a series of 3 drinks.
Oh, series of 3 drinks. Okay.
Our claim to fame was our cold pressed greens drink. We actually have been working on that one for 5 years. We've been taste testing it, giving it away at farmers markets, giving it away at tastings. We were in bars and in nice hotels, working with bartenders, and just shaking it up and giving it away and just asking for opinions. What do you think? Do you like the flavor? And the ultimate flavor that we arrived at wasn't one that I would have chosen, but by far and away everybody else that's been tasting it over the years, hundreds and hundreds of people, they chose this flavor. And I have to say, It's hands down the best tasting greens drink I've ever tasted. It really is. And we just won Top Superfood of the Year by Vegan Health Magazine.
Wow, that's amazing.
Product. So at least that's a great confirmation.
But it's also a testament to something that a lot of entrepreneurs don't do, and that is you went out and tested the market. You spent time crafting your product so it met the tastes and the desires of the people you're trying to sell to. And a lot of entrepreneurs don't do that. They come up with their product in their basement or their garage or their lab or whatever, and without even asking anybody if it suits their needs, they go out and start spending a ton of money trying to sell it, and then the product isn't as successful because they didn't keep the customer in mind.
Yeah, we actually went the opposite, which is very funny. We spent tons of time in the marketplace making sure that people liked the concept. And maybe we spent a little too much time. There's a little bit of debate going on with some of our advisors, but I wanted to absolutely make sure that our product tastes great and it has all the ingredients and that also it works. That's the most important piece of all.
Okay, look, I'm in studio with Annie Vonheim, Smart Press Juice. This is Mike Manahan, your host, Biz Rap Radio. We're talking about entrepreneurship and Annie's business, and we're going to be back right after these messages. And welcome back to Biz Rap Radio. It's your host, Michael Manahan. Thanks for sticking with us today. If you just joined the show, we are in studio. We're talking to Annie Vonheim. She is the CEO of Smart Press Juice, and we were talking about the product that her company has developed, which is basically a series of beverages that contain up to 50 different vegetable extractions and how important vegetables are in an individual's health. Annie, again, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so you've developed this product, and I understand part of what you sell is what's called a cleansing routine. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, juice cleanses are all the rage, as you've probably heard from your top athletes and celebrities who swear by it. Anytime that they're trying to slim down for an event, like the Oscars or the Victoria's Secret fashion show, they go on these juice cleanses. So it's been really, really popular amongst the Hollywood elite, but for the average American, most of us are thinking about starving for a week to 28 days on nothing more than lemon juice and cayenne pepper. So,
I've heard of that. That really doesn't sound very appealing, does it?
No, it's called the Master Cleanse.
Uh-huh.
And from a nutritional standpoint, I just think that's way too extreme. I mean, there's a lot of science also that points toward fasting and how wonderful it can be for the body, but really we feel that should be supervised by your medical physician.
Gotcha.
So something like this is something that everyone can do because you're provided with all the nutrients that your body needs. You also still eat. I don't want you to starve. The object of this is never to starve. You're not to go hungry, so we have tips for what kind of snacks to eat, but the juices keep you full. That's the number one thing we hear from all of our clients is, I feel so full all day, I actually don't want to eat anymore. They have one clean meal a day at lunch, and they drink 5 juices. So these are 5 organic, certified organic, non-GMO, vegan juices, and they comprise of 3 different juices. Number 1 is vanilla protein. That's the one they wake up with in the morning, and it's comprised of certified organic plant proteins and superfoods like chia and sacha and chia seeds and pea protein and sprouted brown rice. It's wonderfully nourishing. It tastes amazing. It tastes just like an almond milk. We worked really hard on that formula. It's super smooth. It mixes so well with a variety of different nut milks or berries or things that people like to add to it. The second thing they have as a snack in the morning is cold pressed greens, and they have that in 16 ounces of water. That keeps you really full and really, really hydrated. And you already have, doing this, you have over 30 different vegetables in your body already before you even hit lunch.
Wow, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you have one clean meal, and then you do this in reverse. Then you have cold pressed greens as a snack again in the afternoon. You have vanilla protein for dinner. And then you have something called pineapple cleanse, which is my favorite drink. And this one is made of pineapple and flax, chia, and sprouts. And
wow.
Sprouted grains are just wonderfully nourishing for omega-3s and protein and natural cleansing fibers. There's nothing violent about this juice. You won't really notice any difference in your your digestion or your bowel movements. You just feel a sense of peace. You feel very full, and you just feel clean.
Okay, so you're cleansing your body. You're getting healthy vitamins and minerals from natural vegetables into your system, because the way your system works, people who go on these cleanses do also tend to lose weight, correct?
Yes, we don't tout weight loss as our primary goal. However, we've noticed that our patients have been doing very, very well. We've seen people lose up to 10 pounds in a week. We, of course, work with local physicians, and one of our doctor partners was running these patients through a DEXA scan, and he reported back that they were losing exclusively body fat.
Wow.
And the reason why is we designed it so that they had enough protein throughout the day, and that their clean meal focuses on lean protein and vegetables as well, so that they're maintaining all of their muscle mass and just losing what we don't want, which is that excess body fat.
Well, that's tremendous. Okay, so you've developed something. It's in a what you mentioned earlier is a fairly hot marketplace. It's something people are doing now, which is these cold pressed juices. But your product's a little bit different because you're not actually selling a liquid, correct?
That's correct. So what we end up doing is with one of my partners, he has the technology and the expertise to do this. So in our cold pressed greens, we're featuring cold pressed juiced cereal grasses like wheatgrass, alfalfa, and oatgrass and barley, and they cold press it and they extract the juices, and then we immediately dehydrate it. So that's wonderful. And then we also mix in a wide variety of vegetables, from your kale, your broccoli, your cabbage, beets, and lemon, and parsley, cilantro, all the wonderful things that you see at these great juice bars coming up. But we do it all with certified organic produce only. We're very, very big proponents of organic, because we want to make sure if you're cleansing that you're not adding in GMOs and pesticides,
Right.
any
Right.
environmental toxins into your cleanse process.
Gotcha. So the fact that your product is dried and you reconstitute it with water means that it's probably very convenient, because one of the things I notice about a lot of these cold pressed juices, they say keep refrigerated on them. Mm-hmm. So what are you going to do if you're about your normal busy day, particularly here in Southern California, because you can't leave something in your car, at least for most of the year, because the inside of your car is 120 degrees. So this makes your product very convenient.
Yeah, exactly. I used to be a huge fan of juice cleanses, and I did them all the time, but I ended up, to carry it around, it's so heavy to carry 5 to 6 juices around with you, and they end up going bad. You're crying big crocodile tears as you're throwing away 2 or 3 of your wasted juices that have spoiled because of the heat, or that you forgot about in the back of the fridge, or somebody drank it in the office or something like that. So I wanted to make sure this was super convenient. They come in powder form. They're shelf stable for 2 years, which is great. And they come in a great carrying box, so you can just carry it around with you. People send me pictures all the time of them traveling with it, saying, hey, look, I've got 50 vegetables in my suitcase, and they send me shots of our juices in their suitcases. So it's great to see. You can take it everywhere. You have no excuse to eat badly when you're traveling anymore. You can take it everywhere with you. So really, people have no excuse to get their vegetables now. Okay,
so somebody's listening to us right now, and they're thinking, hey, that's something I want to check out. I think maybe that might be a product I'm interested in. Where can they go to find your products?
Really, the number one place to find us is our website, smartpressjuice.com. It's pretty easy to find us. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as well. All you have to do is send us a message, and we'll take care of you. We have staffs of nutrition experts, mind-body coaches that are ready. So everybody who undergoes this cleanse is cleansing with us. We do the cleanse every single month.
Wow.
So every single one of the founders does. And many of our clientele started doing that as well, just doing the cleanse once a month. So you reset every month and you're feeling your best. So that's a great way to get in touch with us. You could always just post in our Facebook post and say, I'm starting the cleanse, and you'll find an entire community supporting you, even if it's just you doing it.
Okay, so it's not just about buying your product, but if I'm using your product, then you also have a community where I can communicate perhaps with other people using the product or with experts such as yourself or other people on your team, ask questions and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
That's cool.
Our other motto is friends don't let friends juice alone. So nobody's undergoing this journey by themselves. And we want to make sure that they have access and have someone to answer their questions, because it can be a very drastic, life-altering decision you make to go on a juice cleanse. You want to make sure nobody's left alone, everyone feels supported, and people just do so much better knowing that there's a community of people doing the same thing with them.
Yeah, that's great. I think that's wonderful. I see that more and more where people who make products, whatever those products might be, are building a community around the users of those products. And I really think that's such a great thing. I was actually in a presentation this week for somebody who has a new payroll system. It's not new, it's been around a few years, but I think of the traditional payroll systems like ADP and Paychex. There's no place, Paychex and ADP don't have a place for me to go online and connect with all of the other users of the system in a real social media way. But this new payroll system, that's exactly what they have. And in fact, they have a conference every year. They invite all the users to the conference. They solicit from the users ideas for improvements and changes in their product. And it's just an amazing new approach to connecting with your customers. So it sounds like you're kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah, there's actually studies that show that the community that you surround yourself with has just as much, if not more, impact than the relationship you have with your doctor, the hospital, and clinic that you go to. So it's birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah.
So the people that you surround yourself with that are continually making healthy life choices and healthy eating decisions really, really propel your decisions toward making a healthier lifestyle choice as well.
Okay, so we're going to have to break for commercials. It's Mike Manahan, Biz Rap Radio. Again, thanks for joining me today. I'm in studio with Annie Vonheim, the CEO of Smart Press Juice. You can go to smartpressjuice.com to find out more about her products, and we're going to be back right after these messages. Welcome back to Biz Rap Radio. It's your host, Michael Manahan. Thanks for joining me today. And we are in studio today. We're talking with Annie Vonheim. She is the CEO of Smart Press Juice. Annie, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me again, Mike.
And now, if you just joined us and you missed the first part of the show, Annie's company makes a juice that is basically, it's a freeze-dried juice. It's used in cleansing. They have a whole cleansing program. It's healthy. It can help you lose weight. It can help you rebalance your system. It can put vital nutrients and minerals into your system. And it's just a way to kind of reset your body. And we've talked a little bit about her product, which is very interesting. You can go to smartpressjuice.com to find out more about it. But Annie is an entrepreneur. She started this business, and she went all through product development. She went through the launch stage of the product. And I know as an entrepreneur, you always run into challenges. So Annie, let me ask you a question for other entrepreneurs listening. What's been the hardest part of getting to where you've gotten so far?
I would say probably the most difficult piece is deciding what advice to follow. You get a lot of advice from a lot of different areas, from your friends, from your family, from your partners, and from the different advisors that you have. And as a small business owner, you have to decide which path to follow because you're given about 80 choices. It's like that Alice in Wonderland piece where she asks the Cheshire Cat, where should she go? And the Cheshire Cat asks, well, it doesn't really matter if you don't know where you're going.
Right.
So that's been sort of tough because it's really good advice from everybody, but you have to be very clear on where your company's going.
How do you filter through the varying pieces of advice you get? Do you have any kind of a strategy for managing the differing advices that come from you from different people?
It's a matter of, I have to remember from the very core of it, people are giving advice because they care and that they love us, and some of them love me as good dear friends and family. So I have to appreciate that they want me to succeed. They want me to be happy first and foremost. So my first thing is I express gratitude always for those who even take the time to think about me and think about our company. So that's really, really important for me, because I wouldn't be here without the love and the support of people who believe that I could break away from corporate and do this myself. Really, that's a huge, huge, huge leap. Probably another segment for your show one day is talking to people on what made them make the leap, because it's frightening. So
well, you had a very good job with a fairly good-sized company and making, pretty good money in the scheme of things. So you made that leap, right?
I did, and it was really frightening. And still, I mean, I wake up with cold sweats all the time, going, "What am I doing? Why did I do this?" Because it's frightening. Because now I have all these people, looking at me and dependent on me to make this happen. I must succeed. I have to make this work, because there are people whose livelihoods will depend on this. So I want to make sure that it does work. So with this advice, it's just a matter of knowing your core and knowing who you are. And as long as you stay true to that, the advice could fit in. There's little pieces of it that actually can apply to your situation, but you may not have to follow it to the letter.
Well, I liked something that you said. You said there are people relying on you, and I meet so many people who are not entrepreneurs, who I think have this misconception that every entrepreneur is driven by some great desire to fill his or her own pockets with money. And that's kind of the end goal. My goal is to, put as much money in my pocket as I possibly can, and I'll use people along the way to accomplish that. But the entrepreneur is not really a caring individual. Yet I find time and again entrepreneurs saying exactly what you said. I feel a moral obligation and responsibility to the people who have supported me and who are part of my team as I move forward. And they're going to help, they're not only helping me now, but they're going to share in the rewards. Now, have you set your company up in a manner that the founders, the people who are helping you now at this stage, will be rewarded, as success comes in the future?
Yes, we're still going along that process right now, but essentially I wanted to make sure that me and my founding team, it's not just me. I have a wonderful founding team of 5. And there is, and every single person is a specialist in their own role. Like we have a wonderful lady who I absolutely adore my team, and I would never be this far without them. But we have a lady, Jen Sevilla, who's our general counsel, but she also has been widely running the operations with me. I mean, she's emailing at 2, 3 in the morning every night. Even our investors have come back to me going, "She is spectacular, my goodness." And I mean, I have the founder Jerry, who I mentioned a little earlier. He's our formulator, and he was the first one who sat with me and said, "Yes, we can do this. We can make something like this." And his belief in me early on really spurred this. And also Radaya Rhodes, she's out on the East Coast, and she's not with us on a day-to-day basis in the office, but she dials in every single day almost, and sometimes staying up till midnight, 1 in the morning on the phone with us on a daily basis. They work so hard. And our CFO, Jason Tran, who I worked with at my other companies, who is never hesitated to stay with me till 4 or 5 in the morning.
Wow.
So they're all in it with me right now.
Yeah.
And together we make up Smart Press Juice. It's not just me.
Well, that's great. And I've taken 2 things away from what you just said. One is the importance of a team. Mm-hmm. And I was reading some study, I think it was done at MIT, about funding. And there's 2 different types of entrepreneurial ventures, if you will. The first type, the entrepreneur comes up with the concept or the idea, raises the money, and then builds his or her team. The second type, the team is collected together, the team works on the project, and then they go raise the money. And in 90% of the cases, the latter company, i.e. the company that builds the team before it gets a big influx of money, is more successful. And the former, where the one individual raises a big chunk of money and then goes and builds his team, is much less likely to be successful. So, entrepreneurs who are out there listening, don't think that, hey, I need to get that money I'm trying to raise before I can build my team. You need to bring people in who are committed now, and when you get the money, they will do a much better job for you. And so it sounds to me, Annie, like you've done the right thing.
I didn't know that. Thank you for that.
Well, when you think of it, it makes a little sense, because the people who are helping you now, clearly you're not getting a paycheck, at least probably not a huge paycheck. So they're putting in sweat equity, and whereas if you had $5 million sitting in the bank, you'd be writing these people big paychecks. Well, there's a lot of people who are solely motivated by dollars. So if they're not getting a paycheck, they're not going to help. Whereas the people you have right now are helping because it's a passion. Mm-hmm. They believe in it. And, when people believe in things, you can accomplish a lot more. I mean, let's face it. Faith moves mountains, right?
That's true.
So you have built almost like a mini religion there. These people believe in what you're doing, and as a result, probably a much greater chance of success. The other thing you mentioned that I really want the listening audience to hear is being an entrepreneur is 24/7. You don't turn it off. It's not like working for your government job where 5 o'clock, 4:59 you're working, 5:01 and you're not working anymore. You're off the job and you don't even think about it till the next day. But entrepreneurs that I meet, they're living their business 24/7. Doesn't matter whether they're at the movies, they're at an event, they're going to a party, they're meeting people. Business and the subject of their company is always coming up. So, and Annie, obviously you practice that as well.
Yes. Unfortunately, there's no such thing as free time anymore at any given moment, especially because I have such a wonderful team that works so tirelessly. If they have something to say to me, I drop everything, because that's what's the most important right now. And it really wouldn't be worth their time if I'm not responsive, or I'm not on the situation right away. So there really are no more nights and weekends or holidays. I mean, I'm very, very stressed out with the thought of taking a vacation because I'm away from this business. And really, the other thing, though, to remember, even though it's a 24/7 job, is it brings you great joy. If you truly believe in what you're doing, it doesn't feel like work. For me, it's not really so much work. It's a passion. It's a love. It's my baby, so I don't really consider it I'm on the clock.
That I hear the same comments from entrepreneurs all the time. So, yeah, it needs to be a passion for you. Look, it's Mike Manahan, Biz Rap Radio. I'm here in studio, Annie Vonheim, Smart Press Juice, and we'll be back right after these messages. And welcome back to Biz Rap Radio. It's your host, Michael Manahan. Anyway, I'm in studio with Annie Vonheim. She's the CEO of Smart Press Juice. We've been talking about her product and some of her secrets of entrepreneurship, like building a good team and working around the clock and caring about the people that work for you. And Annie, once again, thanks for being in the studio with me.
It's been a lot of fun.
Okay, so yeah, I know something that a lot of our listeners need help with is the old fundraising issue. Entrepreneurs need to raise funds unless you happen to be fortunate enough to have the billionaire rich uncle. But reality is most of us don't have a billionaire rich uncle. So therefore we have to at times bring capital into our business. That's not an easy task. And I know you're still in the early stages of bringing capital into your business, but what have you done so far, and what do you think has been successful, and where have you seen frustrations in the whole issue of bringing capital into your business?
Well, we were largely self-funded for all this time. I put in the initial seed that started the company and got our first inventory run, and I started adding my partners who ended up funding the other piece of it. So largely our other funds have been coming from our pilot run. We actually had a profitable pilot, which is really wonderful for us. And so our product was able to do the other piece. But now, as we're looking to launch on a larger scale, that is, especially in the realm of digital media, we're going to need quite a significant budget to really go forward and accomplish the goals that we're setting out to do. And this is the time that we need to begin looking outwards for more funds. So our very first step really is to look at our immediate network, friends and family. And like I said, we have so many advisors that want to give us great advice, and some of them want to also be a part of the company. So some people have watched as we've been plodding along over the last year, and they've been asking, when would you like to meet to talk about investment? And we largely haven't taken any meetings until recently, because we were laser focused on making sure our product worked and that our program worked. So at that point, we didn't really need the funds. But at this point, as we're looking to do our second phase, we will look at funds. So we've begun talking to a lot of friends and family, some of them who are accomplished business people themselves, who've been through this already, who can help us cut through our learning curve. We're really looking at people who can provide more value than just funds. We also really value their advice, in that we can skip a lot of the mistakes they made as entrepreneurs, that they can help us jump a few steps without us having to go through the painful process of learning. So we're looking at that as our first and foremost. But we also have some institutional investors who've expressed interest early on. I mean, we really weren't talking to them for quite some time because we weren't ready yet, and we might still not be ready, but when we look at some of them and their strengths, like their distribution and their manufacturing strengths, then it could be actually a good fit. One recently even helped us solve a little problem that we were looking at, some packaging, and they had some really great ideas for us. So they've been through this already, and if we could be a good fit into their mix, that's something we could consider as well.
Okay, so look, if you're listening to Annie today and you think there's a whole host of reasons why you might want to contact her. Certainly, or at least contact her company. First, if you're interested in the cleansing, if you're interested in these super food juices that she sells that pack 50 vegetables into a series of juice drinks to improve your health and your well-being, definitely go to smartpressjuice.com and check it out. But you may have some other interests. You may be a person who has an interest in investing in Annie's company, and if so, definitely go to her website as well and contact her. Or you may have some other interest in her products. Perhaps you have a distribution channel you'd like to talk to her about, because they're at that stage where they are looking at various distribution channels. I know that as small business people, you often don't have the time to go out and seek out everybody that you would want to talk to, because it does take a lot of time. It is time consuming, but certainly if you're listening and you think you might have an interest in talking with Annie, please go to smartpressjuice.com and email her or give her a call, what have you. Annie, what now you worked with the South Bay Entrepreneurial Center. Are you still working with them?
Yes, we're one of their cohorts. It's an incubator accelerator program with a lot of entrepreneurs from the local LA South Bay area. Now, we're not from the South Bay. We're located at Irvine Spectrum. It was a happy accident how we fell into them. We were a winner of the California State Board of Equalization's Toro Tank. It's like their Shark Tank.
Wow, that's amazing.
As a prize, they awarded us a membership into the South Bay Entrepreneurial Center. And it's probably been one of the best things that happened to us all year. So
there are entrepreneurial support mechanisms all over the country. Of course, we know the SBA puts on a lot of these things, but there's a lot of just private nonprofits associated with universities. They could be associated with local cities. Even with some of the big corporations have their little incubators. So if you're an entrepreneur, I really do recommend you seek them out. It not only puts you in touch with potentially great mentors who can help you with your business, but with other struggling entrepreneurs. So Annie, you're happy with your experience at the SBEC?
Yeah, we've met some wonderful advisors, you being one of them, and there's been several others too. Patty Schmucker's our lead mentor, and she's been great with marketing advice, and Patrick Stacy, Scott Herring. they've all been wonderful advisors to us. And the other piece is the cohorts that there are, the other entrepreneurs that are going along this journey with me, as we meet every first Friday, and that's a place where we can talk about our struggles, what we're going through, and it's guaranteed that somebody else in that group has gone through that same struggle. And that just makes it so much easier. And one more thing is, as a brand new entrepreneur who's never done this before, who doesn't really know that many entrepreneurs, because I'm a corporate girl as my background, a lot of these questions I've been asking myself along this entrepreneurial journey, it really goes into thin air. I have no one to ask. My corporate friends look back at me with blank stares and say, "You're just crazy." And finally, I have a place to direct my questions to. So it's been a wonderful journey for us.
Okay, that's tremendous. A great story, great products. Just Annie is a wonderful person. Check it out, smartpressjuice.com. Annie, thanks very much for being on the show today.
It was so much fun. Thank you, Mike.
You know, here at BizRap Radio, we're fixing the United States of America through a fundamental concept that individuals pursuing their own economic interests in free markets will create more prosperity for more people than can ever be achieved through government regulations and a planned economy. Yes, it's all about entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship. We're the people that are fueling this country and making this country great again. At least we hope. It is Mike Manahan, your host, BizRap Radio. We'll be back again next week with another edition of BizRap Radio.